Hi guys, welcome to Draw My Nails. This is the series where you guys draw me a nail design and I do my best to recreate it in real life. This will be episode 22. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, wait, I didn't see a submission post for this episode, you would be correct. All of today's designs were submitted for previous episodes of Draw My Nails. I'm always saying that there are so many more designs I wish I could do or I want to do that get submitted and that I want to do them in the future. So I thought that I might finally take an opportunity to do some of those designs that I've been saving. I believe one of today's designs goes as far back as episode 13. As usual, everyone is credited by either their name or their Instagram handle. There is a chance that people who have submitted these designs don't watch my videos anymore, but that's totally okay. If you do see your design here today, please do let me know. That would make me so happy. That being said, let's get into the first design. So naturally, I thought we could kick off this video by doing the most difficult design first. This one comes from Draw My Aquarium Nails. It is a Avatar: The Last Airbender aquarium nail by Ashley Vandy Ken. I think about this design all the time. It's such a great idea for an aquarium nail. And to be honest, this was at the top of the list for designs that I wanted to come back and do. So I'm really excited to do it today because it is just obviously such a great design and idea, but also because Avatar holds a special place in my heart because I actually have a dog that I named Appa after the sky bison Appa. About this design, they said, "I apologize in advance," which I appreciate. Thank you. I forgive you, I think. Just kidding. Would love if the white could glow. The silver detailing at the top is meant to be metallic, but it's okay if you don't want to do that part. I'd love for it just to be filled with glitter and liquid. So we can absolutely do that. Let's get started. For this aquarium nail, I want the whole nail to essentially have the tank, not just the top half like a lot of aquarium nails do. So I'm gonna grab these nail tips. These are the flattest nail tips that I own. So they really won't add any bulk to what is already going to be a little bit of a bulky nail. The first step is actually getting it on. So I'm going to just buff my nail a little bit just to give it some texture, give it a little wipe. Then I'm going to grab my dehydrator and I'm going over this process with you guys for this nail and then I'm going to skip it for the rest. So step number 2 is primer. And then we'll use our Jello peel off base coat for this nail because I will be devastated if I can't just like keep this nail whole after I'm done wearing it. I'm going to do a little bit of a bigger and thicker layer than I normally would because I don't want to have to use that much effort to take it off. Because like I said, I don't want to break it. I got a new lamp. What do you guys think? This one's from Amazon. It feels really strong. The second I put my hand in here, I can feel the warmth. Although so far the thing I don't like about it is that it defaults to 120 seconds. Like even if you press 60, you turn off and then you go back like that, it stays at 120 seconds. And I'm not sure about you guys, but sometimes I'm doing something else over to the side and my indication that the nail is done after 30 or 60 seconds, whatever I had set it to, is that the light goes off. But since it defaults to 120 seconds every time, I don't want to be leaving my finger in for 2 minutes every time I need a cure. So I'm going to keep looking for a new lamp. I'm looking for a new staple lamp, so let me know if there's any that you guys want me to try out. So now I'm going to file this a little bit, just a little bit on the inside. And it should fit perfectly. I got my little lamp out. So I'm going to use my Après Extend Gel for this, and I shouldn't need too much since this is a very flat nail. Although I do like to also put some on my actual nail too, just so I can make sure the whole area is covered with the Extend Gel. I've turned that on over to the side. Okay, so we'll get this on. Okay, gotta make sure it's straight. Does that look straight to you guys? Ah. Okay, I've made a grave mistake already. I cannot believe I did this. So I also had these nail tips set out and I had already had the tip I was going to use on top sized out. And this is supposed to be the nail I was going to put on top. Look how curved that is. We were supposed to use this one. Oh no. Okay, well, I guess we'll really test this Jello. Do you guys want to know a secret? Sometimes if I'm out of the peel off solution, I'll just use acetone with a dropper. And that usually works. Not quite as well, but it gets the job done. we at least got the bottom lifted up like this. Thankfully, I at least realized before my full cure. And remember, when you use the Jello, you have to be patient. You have to let the acetone or their 1-kill gel remover do what it's supposed to do. Thankfully, I think we're gonna be okay. I'll be back momentarily with the right nail that I was supposed to put on. One sec. We are back, and now we can finally put on our base color. So I'm going to use Game Over from Nails by Dev, but I am going to prep it a little bit with some tip primer really quick, just because we do have so much going on this nail. It would be a shame if it all peeled off. Can you imagine? I don't think we'll use the entire length of this nail, but I'm just going to go on as normal until we get to that point where I need to trim some off. Then cure. Another thing with this lamp is you can't just like put your thumb in. Like you have to have like most of your hand in there for it to turn on automatically. Whatever rhinestone application they use, it's still a little sticky. And I'm gonna do a second coat too, just to make sure it's all very opaque. And we have a really nice canvas. For the ombre, I recently got this really cool little ombre gel from Betsy, and it has this little mesh filter here over the gel, so it like nicely disperses it and makes it really easy to ombre or give that glow effect. So we'll pat it down like so. I'm using my Myth Millow sponges and picker, and look at that, very nice. So I'm going to start down here where the most concentration will be, and then we can sort of fade it upwards. I love this stuff. I only got 2 of these gels when I ordered them, but now I wish I got the whole set. It's like, how easy is that? They did say that the white around Aang and Appa is supposed to glow. I think I'm going to first start by just blocking that out with white and then put the glow on top, because I don't want to have to glob up a bunch of like white gel mixed with this glow pigment. I'm going to use a little bit of a thicker liner brush. Okay, got our little cutoff line there at the bottom down, and then that looks close to what we're going to want to block out. I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to cure it. From this point forward, I am going to cure with this as like a flash cure, but just know that I am doing a full cure afterwards. I just don't want to move my lamp back and forth a ton. This is the glow powder I'm going to use, and this has a really strong kind of turquoise glow to it. I think it's perfect for this. To get this glow on, I am going to use a milky white top coat. Here's what that looks like. And we'll do a good scoop of this glow powder. Maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure if it's showing up on camera, but it is giving a little bit of a greenish tint, but I don't think that will be noticeable. Okay, and let's put that over top now. Hopefully it will level out the white underneath as well, so I can get a smooth base to paint Appa and Aang, because those are going to be some very tiny details. And cure. That actually smoothed out everything really nicely. Ooh, and we can see the glow on that. That is perfect. Okay, now we have to draw Appa and Aang, and it looks to be more of a grayish blue for them. So I'm going to mix these 2 gels. I think it'll make the perfect color. This is probably going to be the hardest part, so I am nervous. Let's do Appa first, I guess. Okay. Gotta do the tail, so that's gonna need to come down. And then, I don't know, he probably has like little legs right here, little feetsies. I am doing this based off of the drawing that they have. I feel like if I look up other references for this, it might make it harder for me, because this has to be simplified so much. Does that look right? Not really. Okay, his head looks too big, but we could make his tail longer and bigger. I think the head looks too downward. I think if I can fix that, this will be good. And of course, some little horns. You know what? That actually looks like it makes sense. Do you guys agree? All right, cure. Although I fear I may have done him a little too big, but let's just try to put Aang in there and we'll see. I mean, really, it would just be like head, shoulders. Okay, I think I need to move this white part down a little bit. That's the best solution I can think of for this. We just need a little addition. Now that we've got that all situated, let's try again. Okay, we got head and then body, and he's like crisscross, so like arms. This is probably as close as it's gonna get, honestly. And I will go back and do the arrow to the best of my ability. I don't know why I don't have a magnifying glass, but I should get one for things like this. We have an arrow, and I'm gonna try to do the ones on the hands as well. I feel like those might be too big. They also do not match whatsoever. I think this one looks okay. I'm scared to cure it in case I can't get the other one to look like that, but I'm gonna cure it. And to the best of my ability, I'm gonna try to put some glow on those. I want to keep this safe because I do need to do some like swirls and stuff over, so I am going to put just a little layer of top coat, and also that way it smooths it out a little bit more and it makes it easier for me to do the little swirl marks. And this is the Gel Monster top coat. I've been using this one. I like it, but it's very thick. It also has a pretty strong smell, which I don't love with gel products. Like, I can smell it on my nails afterwards for the rest of the night, and I don't love that. Now that we have that all protected, I am going to go back with this little ombre gel and do some more blue up here because I feel like it really got lost after I put the white on. That is better, but it's not giving the glowing, mystical look that we're obviously going for. So I looked over and I have this gel, and I think doing a little bit of it around here will really help that vibe. So pretty. I'm gonna do it with just the same sponge. Oh, yep, that's gonna be more what we're wanting. So much better. I'm gonna focus around the iceberg now, and to do those little swirls and details, I have cotton candy and Genie in a Bottle liners from Nails by Dev, of course. I also grabbed out some jelly gels because I feel like that might give me more of the effect I'm wanting, but I'm just gonna see what works best. I'm gonna fill in this lower part with the dark blue now. We'll do some of this like little stones or ice down here. Now I'm going in and doing the outline, and then I'll finally do those little swirls or waves, probably more so waves. We're doing so much on the base of this nail that I practically almost forgot that it's an aquarium nail, but we're getting close to the aquarium part. Really, so much of this is on the base that once we put the aquarium on top, we only have a little bit to do on top afterwards. I'm not curing that light blue. I am just picking up my darker blue now and going over a lot of these little waves, so it all just like blends in really well. Gives it more motion, I suppose. For the swirls in the sky, I want to do them a cat's eye glow in the dark. So I think this will work. This is glow in the dark and cat's eye. Although I don't know what color it glows, so I think we'll have to check that. Because if it glows like green, I don't know if that's going to work. Anyone that got these, what do you use these things for? And why are they so hard to get out of this package? I feel like it would be a good cable tie, maybe. I have a lot of cables around here. Okay, time to play. What color does this glow? Okay, also, it's a bit of a silver, but barely silver blue. It'll still work, even though we're just doing this to see what color it glows. I'll do the effect. Normally, when something glows in the dark, it's like kind of reactive to like blue LED. I'm not really seeing that. Maybe it's... See, like, look at how... Okay, I gotta take this into a closet or something. Update, it does glow, but it is very faint. I'll probably still use it, but I'll add extra glow. This might be the time where we need to assess how long this nail is gonna be. This is the tip that I'm going to use on top to make the aquarium, and they are not as long as this nail. So let me see which one's gonna work over top. It fits, but it might end up being a little too big. I need to be able to seal it. Okay, so about this long. Now we can do the sky, and that gives me a much better frame of reference for where I should be putting this. All right, and I'm gonna cure all this. So I think to feather it out, I'm gonna use a marble gel because it's definitely not just solid lines, but I'm gonna try to do it very, very delicately, as if I've ever done anything delicate in my life. But I do not want this to just spread everywhere, so I'm gonna do a thin coat. And this is the Divock Marble Fit Gel. And I'm going to apply the white with a liner brush because the brushes in those are way too big for these lines. And I'll just go over. Now I'm going over with the glow powder mixture. just so we can make sure that it glows, because how disappointing would it be if we thought that the cat's eye gel was gonna do all the work and then it just doesn't glow. It actually looked much brighter in my camera too whenever I went to test it out. In person, it is almost unnoticeable. I know the cat's eye isn't necessary and I've done about 1,000 layers on this, but I want to do anything and everything I can to make sure this turns out the best possible outcome. And if that means I need to do a layer of gel, a layer of marble gel, a layer of glow gel, and then a layer of cat's eye gel, so be it. And we have our base. I'm going to wipe this now so nothing is sticky, and it's finally time to add the liquid. I'm gonna give it a top coat before we do anything else, just to make sure we lock everything in here. I would hate for something to go wrong while putting the top tip on, and then I lose all of this work. Now we are ready for the top tip. So basically we're gonna just put some gel down and then stick this in here, fill up the sides, make a top part, and you know, that's it. Simple, easy. I am going to just file the sides of this just for adhesion though. I'm gonna use some bling gel to set it down. I sized it so I'm lining them up both at the edge almost. We'll set it in place. Then I'm gonna go along the sides with this as well, just to at least make sure these sides are sealed up. I'm gonna squeeze some of this down here. This bling gel does not have a sticky layer, so I want to make sure that this is what's going to be touching the inside of the tank, because the gel that I'm going to use like to build up the sides and stuff is a white, so things would get stuck to it. We're looking pretty good. That gel does have a tendency to yellow a little bit, but I don't think that will bother us. That's why I'm going to use a different gel to build up the sides. I'm going to use this First Street clear thick gel. I'm actually almost out of this stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to cure this for a very long time. I'm going to give this a file now, hopefully not having to do too much. I feel like I got it pretty smooth, but we can see it's still a little bit lumpy and we need to finish off this top. There was no specification for glitter, so I chose this one. It's just kind of like a blue, white, clear mix, and it's just really small. I think it'll be really good in this, kind of subtle, kind of like snow. Although I'm getting a little ahead of myself, we have to make the top for this. I'm just going to use the back of one of these molds, and I'm just taking the same gel that I was using earlier. And then you know what? I feel like I kind of have an idea for a different way to seal it. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or if it will work, but I'm gonna try it and hope for the best. But what my plan is, I have this just here. I'm gonna cure the back of it for just a second so it's like 5% hardened. And then when it's time to seal this, I'm gonna just put this on top and try to do it that way, so that way it is a lot more flush, because I always end up breaking the seal whenever I do a big top to this. It sounds good in theory, but you never know. Let's fill it now. I do have my oil ready to go and the glitter, very pretty. So I'm gonna get a little scoop of the glitter and maybe I'll put a little bit more. That's how much, if you can see, like right there sitting at the bottom. We of course want it to be glittery, but we want to be able to see all of the work that I put into the background. So I think I'm gonna leave it at this. Okay, are we ready? Okay, got it in there. We are. Okay, it looks like maybe only a tiny bit of oil got on top. I'm gonna wipe it. Okay, I have the light right there, and I'm gonna put, I don't think it worked. Did it? No? Maybe? I don't know. Wait, did it? I don't want to test it. I'm so scared. Oh my gosh, and it's so flush. And the only part that I really need to file is like this back part, although there's that little spot there. It's a bit risky. I think what I'll do is I'll top coat over everything, including this little chunk here, and then file it, and then maybe do another top coat. I'm talking like I'm done, but I'm also not completely done because I have to do that little Air Nation symbol on the top, but I'm gonna do that after I top coat since I already put the seal on. We want to get that secured. This is gonna be such a pretty reveal, hopefully. Ooh, it's so pretty. I have not really shook my hand around or anything to try to move the glitter at all, because I'm scared it'll come undone, but I will afterwards and try to get that glitter that's all stuck at the bottom to come up. I am so scared to file this top, but look, it works. And actually, I think that was a good amount of glitter. I probably could have put a little bit more. I'm gonna just go quickly file this top part, and then we will be back to do the little decorative stuff on top, and then we'll be done with this one. The aeronation symbol at the top is supposed to be metallic, so I'm gonna use this mirror gel. Hopefully that's metallic enough. For this, I'm just going to do a big circle with it, and then I'm gonna go and do the swirls afterwards. There's just no way we're doing it like a cutout. And let's cure that. Also, I love that this like completely hides the bubble. And then we also have a little bit of filigree to do. I'm just gonna do like a swirl or two. Now for the other side. Okay, these are the final 3 swirls. How exciting! Although these are very tiny. I'm at like a time in the night where I've been looking at these like little tiny details for so long that my eyes are not wanting to focus on it anymore. And in case you were wondering, this has taken me 4 hours. That's honestly as good as it's gonna get. That is so hard. Finally, we're on our last top coat. I'm gonna do a thinner top coat this time. So that last one was very thick. This nail is pretty thick in general, but that's okay, it's worth it. And we can do our final cure now. And here it is. I love it. This was such a good idea for an aquarium nail. And then don't forget, it glows. Look at that. Got our little sky, got the iceberg, got the arrows. I love how this design came out so much, but I did make one mistake that I realize now that I want to talk about really quick. I went on about using the bling gel because it didn't have a sticky layer, but then I ended up using the builder gel with a sticky layer for the top. And since I did not cure it and wipe it before, the glitter has stuck to the top. So that is definitely my bad. Even though I thought about it, somehow I still didn't. So next up is this piñata design from Ombr. I definitely end up gravitating towards really colorful designs, just naturally, I love them. And I thought this was so cute. And when I saw this design, I thought about how I personally have never seen a piñata nail. So I thought, I need to make that happen. And there were no notes about this one aside from the fact that it is a pastel piñata nail. Like I said, I'm going to be skipping the application of the full cover nail tips for the rest of these because we just want to get to the fun stuff. So before we get to what's on the actual nail, I want to sculpt the candies first. Since everything's supposed to be pastel, I'm probably going to have to mix quite a few colors today. We're going to be doing a lot of mixing. So let's start on the big candy. We need a purple one. So I have some white trippy gel. Voila. And I think this purple is pretty bright. Oh, it is, but nothing a little bit of the white can't fix. I'm gonna get my little finger gloves on. Got my little silicone mat. So let's grab the purple. I don't know how much I'll need. Probably that much. And then for the white, maybe like that. And now we'll just mix together. Okay, that looks perfect. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I'm gonna take off probably about that much. Okay, I'm gonna roll this and try to get it nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna just roll it out. I think I need to clean this mat before I can really get it smooth. Okay, there we go. Actually, that looks like really perfect. I kind of want to cure it so that that will not move. It looks like exact perfect size. Okay, I am gonna do that. Now let's get the little ties. I think to do that, I'm gonna try keyword. Gonna try to roll it into maybe like a little bit of like a triangle. I'm gonna place that on it almost before I do the other one because you guys know that by now this is my absolute favorite like clay sculpting gel, and I love it because it's really malleable, but once you set it somewhere and kind of leave it for a little while, it kind of like sticks down. I don't know if you've ever done any sculpting and you're just like putting pieces on your nail and they just kind of like literally roll off. That won't happen on these. Okay, that's a good start. That looks so cute. Okay, we need to make kind of like little waves on this. So I want to push them in a little bit, kind of like that. Okay, that's cute. Let's see if I can do the other side. And I'm just using various different silicone sculpting tools. Those are so useful when it comes to clay gel. Okay, I feel like that looks really good. I do want to smooth it out a little bit on those edges, so I think I'm going to get some base coat to try to melt it a little bit. I don't really like using alcohol unless I have to with clay gel anymore, because a lot of the time you get that like weird white residue and I just hate that. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'll do a quick cure before I pop it in my full lamp. Next up we have the tiny pink candies, and we need 5 of those. So I grabbed out a pink. They kind of look like a pinkish peach to me. This is I would say like a very warm neon pink. So let's see if we can tone this down with the white, if it gets us to our perfect shade. And now we mix. It's looking a little bit too pink and a little too bright, so I'm gonna add some peach, and I'm probably making way more than I actually need, but I need a very similar shade for our last nail, so that's okay. If I make too much, I can use that on the last nail. That only changed it a tiny bit, but I like it, so we'll stick with this. Making 5 of these sounds a bit tedious, so my plan is I'm going to make 1 and then I'm gonna make a mold of it and then make the others that way. So we get to do a fun little hot glue mold today. It's been a while since we've done one of those. Okay, I'm gonna try to use those as the sides and I'll make this into a little ball. Okay, let's see if we can get these up. The ball might be too big for these. Okay, so far so good on that. I think I need to make a new one for this side. That looks so good, but I'm scared to do the little indents around here because I don't want to mess it up now. Ooh, it's so cute. Okay, I'm gonna again put a little bit of base coat on, just to very lightly smooth it out. Now we cure. Here's our teeny tiny piece of candy. So like I said, we're gonna do the hot glue method. So I'm going to just pour the glue on top so that it can hopefully get in all the crevices. And I'm gonna do it fast because we don't want it to dry. Okay, there we go. I guess now we wait and see. To be honest, I did touch it, but it's not hot anymore. I feel like it oh my god, well, I'm the worst. I feel like it formed a little bit of like air pocket around it, so I'm kind of just like wanting to like squish it in a little bit, if that makes sense. Make sure that it's getting in all of the crevices. I want those like little details, so hopefully. Okay, it's dry, but the question is, are we going to be able to get it out now? No, we're breaking it apart. No! SOS. Okay, we only got 1 piece. And then that looks actually okay. And then this is definitely salvageable for sure. Uh-oh, if I didn't lose that piece. I found it. Okay, we'll set that to the side. Okay, so let's try this now. The nice thing is we can see from this side if anything needs to get kind of like shoved in there. All right, let's see if this is gonna work. I'll cure it from both sides right here, and then I'll also do a full cure in my lamp. All right, this one was done. Let's see if we can get it out. No, did it stick to the, I think it stuck to the glue. This part might just separate every time and I'll just have to like glue it back every time. Okay, that piece did break, but honestly, it actually turned out, I feel like halfway decent. I'll need to shape it up a tiny bit, but I would say it's a success. So I'm gonna go do this a couple more times. I've got all 5 of these done now. I ended up making a second mold and I actually did the opposite of what I did the first time. And I put the glue down and then put one of these in face down, and that worked better. So now I have all the candies. Let's do the details on top. All of these need swirls, which I'm not excited about, honestly, because the swirls on this nail are probably what I'm least happy with this nail. And just those swirls that tiny are so difficult. And then we got to do a little face on this guy. Everything is going to get a base coat so that it's nice and easy to draw on. And also that way I can erase it if I need to. We don't want to stain the clay. Taking my black. And then we also need just a really light purple for the cheeks. And white for the shine in its eyes. Here goes nothing for the swirls. If I mess up too many times, then I'm sorry, but this is just gonna get like a dot or something. Okay, I guess that one looks okay. Okay, I guess we'll do the swirls. And last one. Of course, for the piñata, I want to do the actual like texture of it. And I'm going to do that with the same clay gel, but I want to do the colors underneath in an ombre just in case some of my actual nail peeks through. I don't want to have to make sure 100% of this is covered with the clay since I'm going to have to be making texture in it and stuff. I just feel like it'll help it look a lot more cohesive, a lot nicer if we put a background to it. So I'm going to have to mix a lot of colors for this, both with the gel and with the clays. And I'm going to do that all at once because it is a lot of mixing. So I'm just going to mix everything. I think a lot of these ones will be fine, but I definitely need to tone down the orange and the red for the gels. So that'll be mixed with a lot of white. And then for the clays, I do have the fully opaque versions of these, but these ones are the jelly version. And I think that they will be a lot easier to tone down in color and give more dimension to. Like, I think adding white to this will make it a really pretty color, and I could be wrong. But we'll have to see. So yeah, I'm gonna do that and let's just like bulk do it. So let's get to it. Finally, we have all of our shades. I feel like I ended up matching everything pretty well. Maybe the blues could be a little bit better, but we are ready. I want to be able to really get down here, so I'm gonna do a liquid mask on my actual skin. I'm sure you can see my hands are so dry. I'm trying to get really close. I'm gonna start out with a brush. This is the As If ombre brush. This is my absolute favorite brush for ombreing. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna probably go in with a sponge to further blend everything. And we will absolutely need multiple coats. But it's blending out pretty well so far, although my spacing might be a little off. It's kind of looking like a sunset a little bit. Okay, I have faith that this will look really good. I just need to do more layers. So I'll cure this and then we'll do another layer. Okay, let's do this again. It will definitely look better this time. Okay, actually, I don't think I need to use the sponge, so I definitely put the liquid mask on for nothing. I think this is probably good for the base. That, or should I do another coat? Ooh, that's so hard. Okay, just kidding. I'm gonna do one more. Doing one more will just really ensure for me that I don't have to worry too much about if a tiny bit of background seeps through. All right, well, we'll take off the liquid mask. Will it be satisfying? A little bit. Okay, so now let's get these on this. I feel like the colors are gonna match really well. I don't know my plan exactly. I think maybe just put a line of it on there and stab it to make all the little pieces of paper. Yeah, we'll start by doing that. Although maybe I should grab like an X-Acto knife or something. Or maybe I should just all kind of put it on all at once. That might be best, and then do the texture. I think the plan is to really just put it on the nail and then we'll do the texture afterwards. Hopefully that works. If it doesn't, we have definitely enough to do something different afterwards. But I think it'll work. Although blending these on my nail is not the easiest thing. I went and grabbed an X-Acto knife. I think that will be best because I don't know any other tool that can do it, you know, super thin. I kind of want to just like chop, but I think I'm gonna do lines before I do that, since usually piñatas are, you know, like those strips. So I'll do a couple of strips to try that out. Okay, and then let's see. What do we think? I think it's gonna work. Okay, let's do, that was not a straight line. That's okay. Do you guys think it's working? I actually think it's working. Also, really glad that I did go ahead and do that ombre underneath, because I feel like if there are any spaces where I end up like cutting through to the base, it would look so wonky if there was not something color matching under there. I got some little pulled areas where the gel just like kind of came up with everything. I'm gonna try to just smooth down a little bit. Okay, I think I'm gonna cure it now. And then lastly, all we have to do is put on our little candy charms. Oh, you know what? I was thinking, should we do this matte? I think it should be matte. Right, piñatas are never shiny like this. I'm using this top coat, and then I'm gonna put it out on a palette that you can't see and put it on that way because I don't want to accidentally put too much and get rid of all this texture. That'd be super sad. I am using that same ombre brush. I love this brush. I know it's like technically an ombre brush, but it's also just like a great like just basic nail painting brush. I don't know, I love it. I need to get more of them. I feel like I should add a little bit of detail to that one really quick just on the wrapper. Then we need to wipe this because it's a wipe top coat. Well, it's kind of hard to wipe it with the texture. Can you guys hear it? Let's get the charms on. Cute. Am I gonna be able to fit all of these on here? Hopefully. Okay, but actually I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit all of them on. And here we are. It turned out so cute. I wish you could see the texture a little bit more, but I feel like you still know what it is and it matches pretty well, and I feel like I'm really proud of this one. Our third design today was submitted for a Halloween episode. It is this blood dripping nail from Hannah. I absolutely love how like glitter blinged out and beaded out this nail is. It's just very extra, very my style. Our notes for this one is dark red cat's eye base with a red French tip with drips covered in gemstones. Then dangling red Then dangling red gems off the tip of the nail with a big red droplet gem at the bottom. Hopefully you have a red droplet gem. If not, maybe you could make one. For the drips, when I saw this and read that, my mind automatically went to beads. Now that I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I'm not sure if they actually meant beads, but I went to the store and bought beads for this, so we're using beads for the dangle part. So hopefully it translates to you guys how I thought it would. My base for this nail is a bit longer than what is in the picture, but I don't have any of those tiny rhinestones, so I have to use bigger rhinestones and a longer nail to compensate. Hopefully that's fine. First, I'm going to start off with a dark red, since our base is supposed to be like a dark red. Ooh, that's such a pretty color. I am so excited to be doing some Halloween designs. Also, my aversion to red has gotten better recently, probably this year. For a long time, I just did not like the color red on pretty much anything. I don't know what's happened, but I just like it less now. For the cat's eye, I'm going to use this red from the Hello Kitty Après collab. And also, look, I just realized it's just like a cover that they put on a regular bottle. I thought that the whole bottle was this color, but I don't know, it's just a cover. That doesn't matter at all. I just thought I'd share. This is a really pretty color. You guys know I'm always excited to do cat's eye. I'll take any opportunity. Ooh, pretty. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna change my light really quick because I don't think I'm gonna be able to see the pieces move with how everything is right now. Okay, there we go. Sorry for the color change. I should be able to see better now. For the tip and the drips, we're gonna use Hello Sydney. I'm gonna start by just laying out my French tip first and then I'll add the drip. I think if I do the drips first, I will not end up planning everything out right. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we'll just fill in the rest of this. Okay, and then we got some drips to do, so we'll start with this one on the center. Okay, nice. Love that one. Let's give it a quick flash, that way we can do the other ones. Oh my gosh, I genuinely have no idea what happened there. It looks like I scraped like my nail in it, but none of my nails have, I don't know, any red on them. I don't know. Luckily, this is a minor fix. And we'll give that a quick wipe. Now I'm gonna make a little hole right here so we can attach the little dangly charm. I don't want to forget to do this, so I gotta do it now before I do the rhinestones. This is a tip for like a e-file, but honestly you can do it by hand and I feel like it's much safer and more precise by hand because rotating super quickly on a drill is kind of scary. And you really don't have to press like that hard with it to get it to go through. There we go. But next, let me bring in some rhinestones. So I'm gonna use these ones. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit all 4, but I'm gonna try. Okay, so we'd have like 1. Then we turn this one to the side. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be able to. Eee. And it's hard because it's like, do we drop off the heart off of the end? Or do we drop off one of these? Might be surprising, but I almost kind of think of dropping off the heart just because it's gonna like hang off a lot right here. And these diamond ones seem more important to the vibe. So I think I'm gonna do that. I thought I had really small red rhinestones, but I must have used them in something. So I'm gonna get some bling gel down the center here to get these large stones on. I think I'm gonna try turning this one this way. All right, we'll cure these on. Then I'm gonna use these for the rest of the nail, but I'm gonna definitely do it in sections because I don't want everything sliding everywhere. Okay, let's begin the rhinestones. These are fairly small rhinestones, so we'll be here a little while. Wait, are there 2 different sizes in this? Oh my gosh, there are. I did not realize there was different sizes in this. I was like, whoa, these ones are really small. I thought I got the slightly bigger ones, and there's both in here. That'll work. Although I may actually use bigger rhinestones for the drops. Let's see what I got over here. These are slightly bigger than the other ones. Perfect. Okay, we're done with our first section. I'm loving how it's looking so far. Okay, we're halfway done. All right, we're in our last section now. Whenever it's been a while since I've done a bunch of like rhinestone designs, I always forget how much I love them. Of course, we all know I love rhinestones, but whenever I do this, I always think like, why am I not putting like 20 times more rhinestones on than I am normally? Every set should be like this. Like a crow, just be like, ooh, shiny. So, hear me out. I went to multiple different stores and this was the closest for beads I could find. I know that they said I could always make a teardrop bead, but that's not something I feel like I could do well, and I didn't want not having a teardrop bead deter me from doing this whole design just because I love this design so much. So we're just gonna make it work, okay? Gotta do a knot. Okay, and my compromise for the like teardrop part is I'm gonna dip this in red gel and hopefully it can form kind of like a ball so that when we put one of these bigger beads, it kind of like rounds it out and it almost looks like a teardrop. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Regardless, this little end piece will be prettier as a red dot. Okay, light over here, on, and then gel over here. Gotta do a little bit more. All right, so here's my little, I guess, teardrop. Wait, was that what they meant by make it myself? I don't know. Okay, now we have to thread all of the beads. These large beads look way bigger now than they did at the store. I felt like those weren't that big, but then now putting them actually on the string, they seem really big. Okay, so here's our little charm. Quite long, it's okay. And I also put a dab of gel at the top here just so I don't have to worry about it coming undone. Okay, let's see how it's gonna look going through the nail. All right, there it is. I am not going to actually like tie it on or anything right now. This is gonna have to wait until I'm done with the rest of the nails just because there's absolutely no way I could do 2 more nails with this on. Can you imagine? That'd be crazy, but that's generally how it's gonna look. There's no way I'd be able to have a dangle like this on my nail. I would literally just mess with it all day. However, here is the actual nail itself. For our fourth design, we have another Halloween nail. This was submitted back in 2022, and when I was looking for designs, I even went back and looked through my email that I used to use for submissions. Although, reminder, I don't use that email anymore for submissions. I use a website that I will post whenever I do these videos. But I did go back and look through hundreds of those emails to see some designs from there also. So this one was designed and submitted by Lillian, and there were no notes attached. So for this one, I want to try out something new that I think about doing occasionally. If I'm doing a more intricate and detailed designs, I often will sketch them out beforehand. And I've often thought about how nice it would be if I could just like trace the design on my nail from my iPad. So I'm gonna try to do that today with this design. It is perfect for that since it's such a clear design with bold outlines. And although there were no notes with this design, I can faintly see that the crow is supposed to be slightly transparent. So it is going to be a stained glass nail, which you guys know I absolutely love stained glass designs. Like I said, I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna see. It's worth a try. Okay, I think I did the outline just like that. And I think it actually looks decent. Now for I guess it would be a window. I'm gonna just see if I can do the other detailed lines too. It's kind of weird because I'm looking at it from an angle since I don't want to be like right here so you guys can see. So I feel like it might be at a little bit of like a different perspective. But honestly, I'm shocked at how well it's working so far. I thought it was going to be like not accurate like at all, especially since I'm working on a curved surface over top. I feel like I'm pretty happy with how it is. I'm gonna move this so we can see. I feel like that's a really good base for me to work off of. Truly, like, wow. I think that'll make it so much easier. Although this double-sided tape is my worst enemy. I hate it. It took me forever to get the top layer off. I think I am gonna just also do like more of the outline since I'm like literally already doing it. Okay, let's do the little crow feet. Okay, I think this is a good stopping point. Now I can take this off. I'm gonna give it like a long cure now, and then we'll put this on and finish it. All right, so let's get this nail on. I'm just using a tip primer for the inside of this because I don't want to file it and make it cloudy or anything. And then again, my extend gel, and there we go. So I have a black jelly gel from Tiny, a orange one, and then kind of like a gray color. And I think these will be perfect, so I'm gonna get some of these out. This jelly black is very blue based, so I may end up wanting to kind of like dilute the color more, or I have a shading black from another brand. I might see if that will work as well. Ooh, that one might be a little too dark. Ooh, I don't know. Okay, maybe let's try this one. That one is very neon. We might have to kind of go with a mix of the two. And then here's my shading black. I want to see how that looks. That one looks a little bit warmer than the other one. Let's see if we can get this to a better shade. Not like not quite so neon. That little bit might have made it a lot better. Glad we got that figured out. Okay, let's just kind of start filling everything in. I think I'm gonna fill in the orange first. This is probably going to be something that will not look that good until I pull my hand up from my table and like put a white background behind this. Just because like this orange with the blue behind it, probably not mixing very well. I am kind of doing it a little thick because I really want the color to show up. And let's do the skeleton. The eyes are just slightly darker, so we'll probably have to mix something in with this one. But otherwise, this will probably be the perfect shade. This one's technically not like a jelly, it's a syrup gel, but it's very subtle, so it probably won't look much different from my just regular nail color. So to make a little bit of a gray for the eyes, I'm just gonna mix these two together. And I say eyes, but I guess I actually mean like eye sockets. And you can still pretty much not tell the difference just because it's on my actual nail. And then looking at both of these blacks, I think that just one on its own is going to be way too dark. So I think I'm going to mix these two together to get more of like this type of shade, but a little bit darker for the crow. Okay, let's see how that looks. Oh, honestly, it might even almost be too light. But I think since I'm like globbing it on, it'll work. But I also think since it's black, I can just paint over all of the lines because it's not going to change the color of those. I feel like it could be darker. Maybe it's going to need 2 coats of everything. We can put a second coat on everything. Okay, let's put second coat. Then what I'll do is I'll go back over and do all of the black lines again on top. And since we're going back and doing second coats, I'm going to see how this color looks now on this, because the orange on the picture is definitely a Halloween orange and this is more of like a fruit orange. Does that look better? Does that look more like it? The little like ovals and diamond at the top are definitely not proportionate, so I'm going to just very carefully file those off, that way I can redraw them. You can see the bird from inside the nail. How fun. Okay, I'm gonna draw these off camera so that I can do them right this time. Okay, we're looking much better. Since I'm gonna go over all of the black lines, I need to level this out. It will not look nice if I do not level it out. So I'm gonna use this super thick top coat. Okay, that is so much better. I'm gonna just touch up the lines really quick. And here we are. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out, although I'm not sure if I would ever do the tracing thing for something like this again. I actually think if I had not traced it, it might have turned out a little bit better. I feel like I had to make a lot of tweaks and that took a lot of time when it really shouldn't have if I would have just sketched it out by hand right off the bat, but it's okay. I feel like the end result was good and it's such a cool design. I can't wait for more Halloween designs this year. And lastly, we are going to end with this tulip nail by Hannah Gambrell. Hopefully that's right. And since we did that design a while back of the bouquet of roses, I have been wanting to try something similar again. So instead of roses, these are tulips, and their notes say blue with silver glitter, white dots are supposed to be glitter, base coat, do the rose method that you did with the acrylic for pink tulips. The roses I'm thinking of are from that TikTok design video, and those were done with a like clay sculpting gel. So I'm gonna stick with that for these ones, unless there is some acrylic roses that I've done that I can't remember. Please do remind me what design I did acrylic roses, because it is really not coming to mind right now. But enough blabbering, let's get into this final design. The sparkles are supposed to be silver, so I think that a mix between these two blues will be really good. I don't quite have that like mid-tone jean blue in any gels, but I think mixing these two will make the perfect shade to match. As a bonus, this silver glitter is also reflective, so that'll add just a little extra pizzazz. Okay, let's mix these on up. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of this light blue. Okay, perfect. Let's get this painted on. We'll definitely need this second coat. You can probably see the texture on this. Those reflective pieces are really big. So I'm gonna put a top coat over this so it's a nice smooth surface. Also, the base is pretty much done. All that is on the base is the color and the glitter. And after this, we can move on to our tulip. For the tulips, I have my leftover gel from this nail, and I think I want to marble it to kind of, you know, give it some dimension instead of doing like an ombre on any petals or anything like that. So I have this, and I'm going to just add a tiny, literally tiny bit of fuchsia, and then also some of the peach. Okay, so let's get this all mixed together now. I'll be honest, the mixing is like the worst part just because it takes so long. And if you work it like for too long, it gets kind of sticky. And for this one, I don't want to overwork it because I do want that little bit of like variance throughout. And I think that'll be a really nice color for the tulips. I think that'll be good because whenever I do like petals and stuff, I will have to roll it even more. Okay, let's start rolling this out so we can get some petals. When I was going through my jewelry making stuff to get some wire for the stems of this, I saw these, and because I was going to make these flowers, it made me think of those little stands that you use when you're baking to make like either like fondant or icing flowers, roses. So I feel like I'm gonna try to use this little metal piece like that like as a good little stand. I remember that last time the method was to build the flower on that like little stem, if I remember correctly, and that was really difficult because it's just like so tiny to hold. Was I doing that right? I don't even remember. It's been a while. I probably should have looked back. I'm gonna put a little layer of jello on here so we can ensure we can peel it off. So I'm gonna just make a small little ball to mold the petals around. So I'll grab just a little small slice. Hopefully that's small enough. We'll have to learn what petal sizes are gonna be best. And I'm gonna try to just flatten it out here. They have a bit of a more like rounded top, so I'm gonna try to create that with like a little ball tool. This is where the hard part's gonna get in because it's like getting thin piece of gel up, but also it's a petal and petals are supposed to have a little bit of like that movement. Okay, maybe you know what, that might be good so far. I however did just Google and apparently tulips always have 3 or 6 petals, so I might need to make them a little bit bigger. That will probably be good for the center. I'll do it with 6. And what I'm taking away from this is that I need to make these like extra long vertically because whenever I scoop them up, they kind of smush together a little bit like that. I'm gonna see if I have just a tiny bit of alcohol on my little silicone tool, if that'll help sort of like release it from the brush because it keeps just sticking. Because my problem really is it's just not wanting to come off of my brush, and it did. Yay! I'm not the biggest fan of this one really, but I'm gonna just keep doing it and then I can take what I learned from this one and do the other ones better. I think they also need to be a little bit thinner. It's just so hard to pick them up when they're thin. Okay, that petal looks so much better. Oh yep, that's gonna be the way. That's gonna be the way. Look at how cute that one looks. While that cures, let's make the couple stems really quick. I just have some wire. I'm gonna try this. It's sort of like a jelly color, but it's the darkest green I have without being just like the wrong shade. If I have to end up mixing a color for it, I will, but I figured it's worth a try to just see if this will work. Okay, and you know what? I think it might. All right, so let's get this off, and looks like it's just gonna come off easily. There's the bottom. So here we have it. It does have a very flat bottom, and I know that they're very curved, so I might try filing this and see if that kind of like makes it look a little bit better. But I'm happy that this little stand worked. Yes, I'm calling it a stand. Okay, let's see if filing the bottom to a curve helps. Okay, so it does look a little bit better after filing that little bottom part, although it was hard. Kept dropping it. Okay, so let's attach this now just to see. So here it is. Okay, it's not bad. It's not great either, but I feel like I would probably think it's a peony if you just like had me guess, and probably not a tulip, but you know what? We'll try again. Okay, so I'm gonna do this like middle piece a bit more cylindrical like that instead of a ball. And then, I know this is extra, but I'm gonna take the wire and put it through that, and then to the best of my ability put it down like this. That way when I take this off, there's a space for the wire to go and the wire can go inside. Hopefully that'll work, and this looks like a little bit of a better shape to build off of. Then this time I'm going to use alcohol to try to flatten these out now, and that way they come up a lot easier too, and they're a lot thinner, more delicate, like how actual petals are. I feel like tulips also, they kind of like bend inward a little bit like that. And then they also do the same on the bottom, so I'm also going to try to keep the nice round shape on the bottom as well. All right, I'm going to cure this. Okay, let's get this stem done now. I feel like this one turned out better. Definitely looks more like a tulip. Let's get it off. See how easily it comes off. Oh, cool. Not a problem. Okay, let's get the stem in. Yay, it's gonna work, I think. Okay, does that look like a tulip? I think it does. It's a very delicate tulip, but also this is going on my pinky, so it's not like there's room for a bunch of really large ones like this. So just a couple little delicate tulips. Yay. Okay, this one I think is perfect. I'm gonna make 2 others and then we'll put them on my nail. Here are my 3 tulips. They came out so cute. They're so delicate. I'll probably just put them in like just like a small little bouquet in about like this arrangement on my nail. I feel like that'll look nice. Kind of just like this. So I'm gonna start just put a little bit of this bling gel here. Okay, there's one. I'm gonna do the other one a little bit lower. Okay, that's cute. I'm gonna cure this because I like how these are, and then I can put the last one on top. And the last one will go down probably about there. So I'm gonna cut a little bit off of this wire. And here it is. I love it. It is so cute. I wish these stems weren't so delicate because this would be so nice to actually be able to wear for a little while, but I feel like I'd have to completely like coat them in or something. I think those tulips came out so cute. Although I did just realize I made a mistake on the design. I did the flowers upside down. Like I always say, there isn't really a right or wrong way to do your designs on your nails. You can do them however. Although the way I do them now and the way they are commonly done, much like tattoos, is the design faces outwards, not inwards. So in my mind, I just defaulted that and did the flowers facing outwards. So that is definitely my bad. And those are much too delicate to take off and flip around. Aside from the couple mistakes today, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. It was really fun to come back and do some of these designs I've been thinking about for sometimes years, although I will put out a template and submission page for the next episode of Draw My Nails. So watch out for that in the next week or two. I always post it to my community tab here on YouTube. If you want to make sure not to miss that, make sure you subscribe. You guys know I don't really ask you to subscribe, but I don't think that many community posts pop up on non-subscribers' feeds, and I hate when people are upset about missing those posts. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you watched to the end of this video. I know it's really long. Please make sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. It helps the series out a lot and I really appreciate it. And I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!